Hello everybody. Hello everybody. You are listening me? You're getting my voice? So thank you Mradul to arranging this wonderful webinar and giving me such an opportunity to present in front of all of you. So I just brief about today's session. Today's session we will cover all the practical approaches of equipment qualification and the practical implications and the practical approach which need to be followed during the equipment qualification. The subject name is equipment qualification, but it includes the qualification of systems, utilities, analytical instruments, and other related accessories, or you can say the systems related to the pharmaceutical industry. So, firstly I just brief about the equipment qualification. So, it's a very huge topic or very lengthy topic. We cannot cover in this in two-hour session or one-day session. So, we will just try to include most for practical implementation. So, nowadays, there are several guidelines and there are several approaches around the industry which talks about the qualifications, how to perform the qualification, what are the approaches. So nowadays it's a very tedious to the user that what are the process and what actually we have to follow. So there are several questions in the user's mind which they want the answer. Some of the questions I selected from my table or in the presentation also. So I want to just brief about what we have to cover or what we will cover in this session. So along with the presentation, I will cover several questions which idea and the strategy are not clear in the regulatory guidelines, because guidelines are only for recommendations or they are giving the path from the qualification, but they are not giving the practical implementation part. So I will just brief that what are the questions and what we will discuss during this session. So the first question is that when we have to file the change control. The strategy in case of modification and relocation. SOP preparation and implementation phase. It means when we have to prepare the SOP and when we have to implement or effective this SOP. And risk involved. What is the risk approaches which we have to include during performing or before the qualification activity. Or the next question is combined document can be prepared. It means IQ or can be clubbed. IQ and OK can be clubbed. Vendor document can be accepted for we have to prepare own document. Requirements of PQ and PV. It means can be perform the process validation and the qualification activity. And what are the risks involved if we are performing the process validation along with the performance qualification? Next question is that who will perform the qualification? Everybody say it's a QA task, it's a QA job. So then we'll discuss actually who is responsible for performing the qualification activity. And we'll discuss the steps of qualification. And what are the content of qualification planner? And we will discuss that the validation and qualification terms. So we have to include everybody. Hello. And what are the content of qualification planner? And nowadays, some company also purchasing old documents. Not only old documents, they are purchasing the old equipment, instruments. So then, what are the strategy for these equipment or instruments? So what are the documentation requirements? frequency of qualification and requalification. And we will discuss also the preventive maintenance frequencies, calibration frequencies, and in qualification need in case of requirement of changing of major component. Or we will discuss that if the equipment or instrument will not use since long, then what will be the approach, and what are the documents required as an attachment, and when can we allocate the identification number of instruments or equipment. So review and issuance of documents, when can be and who can be responsible, and who will be the responsible for reviewing the document, and what will be the approach to issuance the documents, vendor provided documents to the user or the qualification team. So these are the questions, but these are not a very limited questions. We will discuss all the questions. So now we'll move to this presentation copy. So we will discuss the presentation. So now I am just sharing my screen. Yes. So our today agenda, as we have already discussed, that we will discuss on equipment qualification. So before going to the next, I will just brief about myself. Myself, Ramrat Singh Rathore, and I am pharmacy graduate, having 1.5 decade quality assurance experience in pharmaceutical industry, and having exposure of tablet, capsule, dye syrup, sachet, injectable includes the pre-filled syringes, lyophilized injections, and injectables including the piles and ampoules. And I have also exposed, and I have an exposure of eye drops, ear drops, nasal drops, and other dosage forms which are available in the industry. And about my career, I started my career from Alchem Laboratories Limited. I have worked with Alembic, Shreya, Acumes, BBMed, Rusan, and currently I am working with Unimedico Labs as a General Manager Quality Assurance. So, it is my third company where I am working as a head of QA. And about my exposure, I have experience of ANVISA, MCC, WHO, and various ROW market regulatory authorities. So this is just brief about myself. Now we'll next forward to the next slide. This is the slide. So during this session, what we will learn about the equipment qualification, as we have already discussed in the beginning of the session, then we will cover what is the requirement and why we are doing the qualification, when, how, who, and where we have to perform the qualification. So this is about the brief about today's agenda. But as we had discussed, that there are several regulatory bodies provided the regulations regarding to the qualification. So our next slide will discuss about the regulatory requirements and what are the regulatory guidelines which are available in the industry, which talks about the qualification requirements. So now the next slide is the most recent published guide about the qualification is WHO TRS 1019, which talks about the requirements of the qualification. So there was some confusing regarding the title of this appendix, but finally the title was Freeze Guidelines on Qualification, which include all the equipment, accessories, utilities, and systems, including quality control instruments. So The next guideline which talks about the qualification and validations is UDREX Volume 4, Annex 15, which talks about the requirement of qualification and validation. And the next guideline which talks about the same subject is Annex 15, Qualification and Validation, the PICS guide. And the next guideline which talks about the Health Canada, the latest version is published in July 2020. It means 1 month back. So they have given the reference of validation guidelines of pharmaceutical doses as a GUI 0029, which were published in 2009 or effective from 2009. And next guideline which is readily available or available in the industry, it is International Society for Pharmaceutical Engineering, that is ISP, which talks about the requirement of commissioning and qualification of the equipment or utilities. And next, the not least, the United States Pharmacopoeia, the Analytical Instrument Qualification, the Journal Chapter 1058, which talks about the instrument qualification, analytical instrument qualification approaches, and the procedure which need to be followed during this section or during the qualification. And the ICH, everybody knows about this. The ICH Q7 talks about all the requirements or GMP requirements of the APIs formulations. So this is also talk about the qualification requirements. So now, what is qualification? So everybody is confused during what is qualification, what is validation. So now we'll talk upon the qualification. So action of providing and documenting that any premises, system and equipment are properly installed and are work correctly and lead to expected results. It's called qualification. So the validation and qualifications are essentially component of the same concept. The term qualification is normally used for equipment, utilities and system, and validation for processes like cleaning, method and processes. In this sense, qualification is part of validation. So it is the idea about the qualification. So the slide which I am presenting is taken from WHO TRS 1019, which given this idea or the approaches of qualification and validation. So now validation and qualification, what are the requirements and general requirements? So we all know that nowadays a life cycle approach is applicable for all the systems, procedures, methods and qualification also. It means the life cycle approach is also applicable for validation and qualification also. So we have to implement this approach in qualification, which include the risk-based approaches and risk assessment and data supporting qualification study, which were obtained from source outside the manufacturer. Own programs may be used, provided that this approach has been justified and that there is adequate assurance that controls were in place throughout the acquisition of such data. So what is the basic principle of qualification? So in principle, premises, system, utility and equipment should be appropriately designed, installed, qualified, operated, cleaned and maintained to suit their intended purpose. So all the guidelines say that equipment should be designed such as that they will be intended, they will be available or they will be used for the solving the purpose after the qualification. So the quality management system should design ensure that these remain in the qualified state throughout the life cycle approach. So products should be produced and controlled using qualified equipment and instruments. And manufacturers who may use an alternate verification framework to achieve qualification should ensure the qualification expectation within these guidelines are satisfied. The principle should be applied that a qualified state is maintained throughout the life cycle. So it's the clear-cut idea given by the all guidelines that the principle should be applied that a qualified state is maintained throughout the life cycle. So it is the basic principle of the qualification. So what are the general requirements? So the general requirement, the validation master plan is the general requirement. It means we have to have validation master plan or other relevant document which should specify the policy of organization, planning, scope and stages applied in qualification on site, and should cover all the matters related to the production, quality control, engineering and other applicable areas. So the principle of quality management system should also be applied in qualification. So the qualification, which includes the risk-based approach, which define a clear understanding of the system and the role it plays in the establishing, protecting the process and quality. So defining all the design, procedure and quality system, control required for product against these potential risks. So these controls either mitigate, reduce the risk and detect the impact to the quality or process should the risk occur to ensure failure does not impact final product quality. So compiling evidence during the designing, engineering, commissioning and qualification to demonstrate that all of these required controls. So this is the basic principle of the qualification. So now we have already discussed that appropriate controls to be developed by the manufacturer. The scope of the qualification should be defined properly in the documentation, and the qualification activity should be executed by trained personnel. Training records should be maintained for the references. So if we are saying that the person involved in the qualification activities are trained, then we have to maintain the documents accordingly. Where appropriate, new premises, system, utilities and equipment should be subjected to all stages. Kindly listen very carefully. Where appropriate, new premises, system, utility and equipment should subject to all stages of qualification. It means we have to perform the qualification for all the system, for all the components and all the stages. The stages of qualification, we will discuss the URS, the design qualification, the user requirement specification, design qualification, IQ, OQ and PQ. And if you decided that all these stages are not necessarily required to perform the qualification, should be justified. Qualification should be done in accordance with predetermined and approved qualification protocol. And the protocol should be having the prerequisite and the acceptance criteria. The result qualification should be recorded and reflected in the qualification report. So these are the general requirement of qualification. So if we are performing the qualification, it is also mandatory to prepare a qualification report. The report should be mirror image of the protocol. It means it should be covered all the approaches which we have defined in the protocol. The approaches or the report should include calculation, documentation, raw data, original data, test failures, protocol departures, recommendations and justification for issue resolution, conclusion. There should be a logical sequence of executing qualification, such as premises, utilities, and equipment. Normally, qualification stages should be sequential. As for example, the operational qualification should follow after successful completion of IQ. It means there are the stages which we have defined already in the protocol, that is the DQ, IQ, OQ, and PQ. So without completion of the previous stage, we cannot forward to the next stage. It means if we are performing the OQ, then we have to ensure that there is a documented evidence as IQ was completed. And in some cases, different stages of qualification may be executed concurrently. They should be justified and documented in the PMP. So the equipment should be released for use only once there is a documented evidence that the qualification has been successfully completed. Certain stages of qualification may be done by the supplier or a third party, subject to the condition of responsibility as defined in writing and agreement between the party. It means if the third party is performing the qualification activity, it does not mean that the whole responsibility of the outside party. So manufacturer should ensure that the contract givers remain responsible to ensure that the qualification is done in accordance with the principle of good manufacturing practices. The relevant documentation associated with qualification, including SOPs, specification, acceptance criteria, certificates, and manuals should be available. It means if we are performing the qualification, all the supporting data, the equipment, the related accessories, the manuals, the certificates, the calibration certificates, and the specification certificate also be required to be stored along with the documentation. Utility and equipment should be maintained in a qualified state and should be periodically reviewed for the need of requalification. We have already discussed that we have to define the periodic qualification, requalification of all the equipment and utilities on the basis of available trends or the justification. So for all the frequencies which we have to define for requalification, preventive maintenance, the calibration, we have to perform assessment. On the basis of assessment, we have to define the requalification step, requalification frequency. Requalification should be considered when changes are made. So these are the general requirements. Then qualification stages for equipment, facility, utilities, and system. Now we will discuss about the main approaches or the main content of the qualification. So qualification activity should be considered all stages from initial development of the user requirement specification through the end of the user use of the equipment, facility, utility of the system. The mainstays and some suggested criteria, although this depend upon the individual product circumstances, may be different, but it should be documented. So we'll discuss now the stages. So if we talk about the qualification flow chart or the stages of the qualification of equipment, instrument, and utilities, these are the flow chart which we can follow. Now I want to focus on this, that the B model which was presented by WHO is now removed from the guideline. It means there is no existence of B model. But I have presented, this is the flow chart only. So this flow chart we can use as a reference. So this is applicable for all equipment, instrument, and utilities. So starting from URS, DQ, FAT, SAT, IQ, OQ, PQ, there are several stages of review. If there are some plant modification, this should be handled through the change control, and then review, and then further proceeding the next step. So I have a stick mark on FAT and SAT. So what are the requirements of FAT and SAT? So we will discuss in the next slide why I have a stick mark on this. So as per guidelines also, FAT and SAT is not mandatory for all the cases. It is mandatory in case of novel and complex technology. So the earlier slide we discussed is the general guidelines which we have to follow for all the critical equipment instrument. But this slide presented for indirect impacting system. So BMP, we have to define our BMP that what are the direct impacting system or what are the indirect impacting system and what are the strategy. So I have given this flow chart. If we are having indirect impacting system, then we have to define that we have to perform the URS. It means we have to give the user requirement specification. We have to perform the risk assessment, and after performing the risk assessment, we have to commissioning the equipment, instrument, and calibration. And after that, performing the calibration, we have to perform the routine use, or we can use the equipment instrument for routine use. So the indirect system we can use for interactive system, like in packaging area, we have a conveyor belt. It is not directly related to the product, but if we are mentioning that flat, IQ, OQ, PQ required for the all the equipment, so obviously if you are deviating, because you will not perform the qualification, the whole qualification for the simple accessories or the equipment which used for the packing of the product. This strategy also applicable, or we can implement for the tailor-made system. It means that the instrument is provided by the manufacturer, and there is no involvement of installation and other activity. So this strategy we can also follow for this type of instrument or equipment. So next slide, the user requirement specification. So I just brief about the top line about of this user requirement specification. So the user requirement specification is set of the owner, user and engineering requirement necessary and sufficient to create a feasible design meeting the intended purpose of the system. URS required, URS documentation should be prepared for what not limited to the utility equipment as appropriate. URS should be used as a later stage in qualification. It means the URS is the first document which is available for throughout the life cycle of the instrument, equipments, utilities, systems. So we will also discuss what is the retention time of the document, because the life cycle approach is applicable for documentation part also. So we will also discuss the requirement of storage of the documents. So the specification of the equipment, facility, utility and system should be defined in URS, or we can say the functional specification requirement. Some companies say the functional requirement, some companies say the URS. So we can choose about URS, and in URS we can define the requirement of functions. It means the functional specification. So the URS is the essential element of quality need to be built in at this stage, and any GMP risk mitigate to an acceptable level. The URS should be a point of reference throughout the validation life cycle. So the next element in the qualification of equipment, facility, utility or system is a DQ, where the compliance of the design with GMP should be demonstrated and documented. The requirements of user requirement specification should be verified during the design qualification. So what are the design qualification? What is the need of design qualification? So the design qualification is the documented verification that the proposed design of the facility, system and equipment is suitable for the intended purpose. And it should be demonstrated that the system as designed is appropriate for its intended use as defined in the URS, means the requirement of the user requirement specification should be verified during the design qualification. A suitable supplier should be selected and approved for the relevant utility or equipment. Now in the beginning of the session, I have discussed that what is the stage and which is the stage when we have to file the change control. So it is a requirement that you have to file the change control for new equipment, instrument, system before raising the purchase order to the vendor. It means before procuring the instrument equipment, you have to file the change control. But normal industrial practice is that they're filing the change control that the equipment, instrument are received at site. It is not a good approach. So the right approach is you have to file the change control before PO raising. So this is the question which I want to address in front of you. And now, what is a factory acceptance test and site acceptance test? So everybody knows about the factory acceptance test. So now just brief about a test conducted usually at the vendor premises to verify that the system, equipment or utilities as assembled or partially assembled meets approved specification. So then what is the site acceptance test? The site acceptance test are tests conducted at the manufacturer site. It means our site of use to verify that the system, equipment or utility as assembled or partially assembled meets approved specification. So this is about the definition part of the factory acceptance and site acceptance test. So what are the requirement of FAT and SAT? So now factory acceptance test is FAT and site acceptance is SAT. So we'll talk about this. Where a utility or equipment is assembled or partially assembled at a site other than that of the purchaser or end user, testing and verification may be done based on principle of QRM to ensure that it is appropriate as described in the URS and ready for dispatch. So if you go with this line, the line is clearly says that where the utility or equipment is assembled or partially assembled at the vendor site, then we require this. Then equipment, especially if incorporating novel or complex technology, may be evaluated. So these are the lines which I had taken from WHO TRS 1019 Appendix 6. So the guidelines PICS also says about this. The same sentence is given in the PICS guide, the UDLX Volume 4, Annex 15 also. So the checks and tests conducted during factory acceptance test should be recorded. Prior to installation, equipment should be confirmed to the comply with the URS requirement at the vendor site is the requirement of these two. So now, the next detail about the factory acceptance and site acceptance test. Then, where appropriate and justified, documentation review and some tests could be performed at the FAD or other stage without the need to repeat a site IQ, OQ. It can be shown the functionality is not affected by the transportation and installation. It means you have performed some tests during FAT and SAT, then you can club these tests with IQ and OQ when there is no impact on installation on the equipment due to the transportation. So the next sentence is FAT may be supplemented by execution of SAT following the receipt of equipment and manufacturing side. So we can say that if we are not performing the FAT, we can supplement by the SAT documents. The acceptability of the assembly and overall stages of utility equipment should be described, and conclusion of a report for a set prior to the shipment is the basic requirement of this test. So test based on the principle of quality risk management and verified the user requirement at the site. At site it means at our site. The result of test should be evaluated and of the outcome of the acceptability of the utility or equipment should be recorded in the conclusion section of the report of the set. So next stage of qualification is IQ, that is installation qualification. So the word is also talks that installation. It means we are installing the equipment instrument at our site. So the basic definition of installation qualification is the documented verification that the facility, system and equipment as installed or modified comply with the approved design and manufacturing recommendation. IQ should be performed on equipment, facility, utility, system and verification prior to installation of utility and equipment in an appropriate location. So I want to add something in between these slides that before performing the installation qualification, what are the prerequisites what are the pre-requirements of installation qualification? So, after receipt of the equipment instrument at site, firstly we have to verify the equipment for the spares, the documentation, the manual. There are several accessories which required to installing the instrument equipment. So before installing the instrument, we have to verify the documentation part, whether documents are provided by the vendors, manufacturer of the machine or not, whether all the listed items which mentioned by the vendor are received at our site. So these are the prerequisites which shall be verified, which should be verified by the engineering personnel or the user along with the QA personnel. So these are the requirements before proceeding the installation qualification. And this should be in accordance with the IQ protocol. If we are performing the installation qualification, then we have to perform or we have to prepare a protocol. So now I also want one additional point during this stage, that if vendor is providing the documents, it still need to prepare the document in accordance with the PMP or according to the quality system of the site. Yes. If the documents during review, if you found that the documents which are provided by the instrument or equipment supplier are not complying with the regulatory requirements or not meeting with the requirement of PMP, then you can also prepare a supplement document as per your system, so that all the components, all the parts which required as an installation qualification or other part also are covered fully. So it is a requirement. And before starting the qualification activity, first of all, we have to review all the documents which are provided by the vendor, and after verification, there is a stamp or there is a seal which approve that these documents are reviewed or approved for the further use. Then the document should be issued for further execution. So this is the minimum requirement. So these are the basic requirement of IQ. So during what are the requirement during the IQ? We have to verify all the calibration of supporting instrument accessories, the MOC of the equipment, and identified measuring, control, indicating devices should be calibrated on site unless otherwise appropriate justified. The calibration should be traceable to national or international standard. Traceable certificate should be available. It means you have to attach the supporting document as like calibration certificate up to 2 level. It means the vendor provided and the master's master. So these are the documents you have to attach with this document. So any deviation and non-conformance, including those from URL and acceptance criteria specified and observed during installation qualification, should be recorded, investigated, and corrected or justified. The outcome of the IQ should be recorded in conclusion of the report before OQ is started. So now we will discuss operational qualification. So operation qualification, the documented verification that the facility, system, and equipment as installed or modified perform as intended throughout the anticipated operating range is called operational qualification. Requirements and procedure for operation or use, calibration, maintenance, and cleaning should be prepared before OQ and approved prior to PQ. It means during PQ we have to freeze the procedures for operation cleaning, and maintenance, including calibration. It means before performing the performance qualification, you have to damn sure that all the procedures are freezed, and before performing the PQ, they should be effective. So this is the requirement. Then utility and equipment should be operate correctly, and their operational should be verified in accordance with an OQ protocol. So we will discuss about what are the requirement and what actually we have to perform during this operational qualification. So OQ normally follows IQ. This I have already discussed, that before performing the next stage, the previous stage documentation should be complete. And depending on the complexity of utility or equipment, it may be performed as a combined installation operational qualification. In the initial phase of the session, I have already included that one question, that what is the requirement? Can we club the document? Yes. Guidelines also given the idea that you can also club the IQ, OQ wherever required. And if you are clubbing the document, then there should be a justification, and or the strategy of this type of qualification should be described in validation master plan or qualification protocol. And now, what are the tests which we have to perform during OQ? So I think some error in this. Hello? Hello? Mradul? Hello? Mradul, are you getting? Anybody can comment from the work? Yes, I am audible. I think I am audible. I am audible? Yes, sir. Okay. Now we'll continue. Now we'll continue and start with this slide. Yes. So now the operational qualification. So what are the requirements of OQ? So OQ should be or should include tests that have been deployed from the knowledge of processes, system and equipment to ensure the utility or equipment is operating as designed. It means you have to cover all the operating range which are cleaned by the manufacturer. Kindly note or kindly listen very carefully. During operational qualification, you have to cover worst case, the operating limits, upper limit, lower limit during the operational qualification. And the completion of successful OQ should follow the finalization of standard operating and cleaning procedure, operating training, preventive maintenance requirements. So these are the requirements of OQ. Then the operational qualification. So the operational qualification, the training of operators for the utility and equipment should be provided and training records should be maintained is the minimum requirement. Calibration, cleaning, maintenance, training and related tests and results should be verified to the acceptable. Deviation and non-conformance observed should be recorded, investigated and corrected or justified. The results for the verification of operation should be documented in the OQ report. The outcome of OQ should be recorded in conclusion of the report, normally before PQ is started, which we have already discussed. Now we'll talk upon the PQ. So this is the main component of the qualification of the equipment, instrument or utilities. So what are the definition of this? So the documented verification that system and equipment can perform effectively and reproducibly based on the approved process method and product specification. So this is the requirement. So PQ should normally follow the successful completion of IQ and OQ. In some cases, it may be appropriate to perform PQ in conjunction with OQ or process validation. This should be justified and documented in PMP. In the initial phase of this session, I have already discussed then what will be the approach if you are performing the process validation along with the performance qualification. Because we learn in the session of process validation that before performing the process validation, equipment should be qualified. So, this is the misleading information, or these are the terms which are not giving the clear idea what we have to perform. So, this line I have taken from the PICS, WHO and this UGMP Annex 15. They have given this idea, but we cannot implement without any assessment directly, because if you are performing the PQ along with the process validation, you are not covering the full range of the equipment. It means during process validation, you are just trying the parameter as per the process requirement of the particular product, but you are not challenging the equipment for the minimum or maximum use of the equipment. So, if you are performing the process validation along with the performance qualification, then you have to justify, you have to valid reason, then what are the current controls and what are the strategies. But as per my knowledge, it is also true that if we are performing the process validation on equipment, it means we are performing the PQ on particular equipment, and we will also perform all the process validation on this particular equipment, because we have to perform the process validation. It should be product specific, so we can justify through this. So now we'll discuss the PQ should include test using production material, qualified substitute, or simulated product proven to have an equipment behavior under normal operation condition with worst case best side. It means if you are performing the PQ, then what will be the product? What is the nature of the product or dummy or the batch or product which you are selecting? So you have to select the worst case. As for example, if you are performing the performance qualification of FBD, then you have to take a product which having the maximum LOD. It means which having the maximum water content, moisture, so that equipment can be challenged that with this product, if the equipment is performing as per our requirements or within the acceptance criteria, that equipment is qualified. So it is just a basic example. We have to take a note on this, and we have to include in PQ before performing the PQ. And next requirement is test using production material, qualified substitute, simulated product. We have already discussed test covering the intended operating day. It means we have to include all the ranges which we are performing during a routine production. Utilities and equipment should be consistently performed in accordance with their design, specification, and URS. The performance should be verified in accordance with the PQ protocol. There should be record for PQ. Example, a PQ report. It means after performing the process performance qualification, you have to perform or prepare a protocol or report which define the strategies for further use of equipment and also indicate the satisfactory performance over a predefined period of time. manufacturer should justify the period over which PQ is done. So, in the earlier slides, I have also discussed that what is the approaches and what is the format for checking whether all the equipments are in qualified state, because if we are not preparing a qualification matrix or qualification planner, then how can we ensure that all the equipment, instrument, accessories are in qualified state? So, for performing or to tracking this, we have to prepare a standard format which include the equipment name, identification, the location of installation, and the initial qualification date and the periodic qualification date along with the execution status. So, if you required or anybody required the standard format, I will share on the request. So now we'll move forward on the periodic review and requalification. So, during this phase, it means periodic requirements, periodic qualification, requalification is required or mandatory to maintain the equipment in qualified state throughout the life cycle. It means utility and equipment should be reviewed periodically to confirm that they are remain in qualified state or to determine the need of requalification. So, organization have to maintain a matrix or assessment document for defining the requalification frequency. As a general practice is, if we are modifying the equipment, we are changing the major component of the equipment instrument, we have to perform the qualification. But to what extent? Whether we have to perform IQ, OQ, PQ, or both, all, or we have to perform only performance qualification or calibration. So you have to define your PMP. Then what will be the approach if you are replacing the major component? If you are modifying the equipments, we'll also discuss what are the relocation criteria. It means if we are relocating the equipment, instruments from one place to another place or in the facility or one room to another room, what are the requirements? These are the cautions which we have to mention in our PMP. Along with these, we have to also mention the preventive maintenance frequency and the variation, the deviations allowed, and what are the basis of deviation allowed, calibration frequencies, and the policies of replacement of major components, and the policy if the equipment is not used in a particular time, then what are the approaches? So these are the questions which we have to cover in PMP. So the qualification status of periodic requalification due date should be documented. We have already discussed matrix, schedule or plan should be maintained. In case a utility or requirement used in identified that has not been subjected to qualification, a qualification protocol should be prepared where element of URS design specification OQ verified for acceptability. The outcome of this qualification should be recorded in report. So these are the requirements. I missed one thing also. When you will assign